All right, everybody, welcome to ChinFat. In this episode, I'm going to be going over what we call window layouts. Window layouts are these items up here at the top of your screen, and what it does is it will change the arrangement of your windows. We've got an episode coming up where I'm going to show these different windows. We'll show a project panel, source panel, program window, and timeline, or our sequence windows, and the different functions that we have in each area here. But right now, I am showing window layouts and how the software decides to arrange your windows down here. First of all, I've got some of the custom ones here that I have that I've created myself, so you may be missing some of these. But up here you will have the standard layouts that come with Premiere Pro. You have the learning one. If you click on learning, if you click on any of these, it's going to go under that arrangement. Click on learning, and we have a little bit of a different layout. It looks like it just kind of flattened these windows, pushed them over, and added this learning panel over here. So that's nice to be able to go into these tutorials over here. But once you're used to that stuff and you don't need to learn it anymore, you can go under Assembly. Assembly has a 3-window layout where it shares the source monitor and the program window. So Assembly is really good for organizing. Editing is good for, well, editing, because you have effects control panel over here, your audio mixer, your source clip all combined into these different windows over here. These different tabs will open up those windows within this area up here within the source area. You have arrangements for color grading, which brings open the color panel on the side. You have them for effects, for doing effect work, and you have your effects panel over here on the side. A lot of these, when you click on them, will add a new panel over here on the side. And this is the sound panel, or the graphics panel, or the effects panel, or the color panel, and so on. Now, if you want to do some, and now as I move on down the line, if you have enough of these, if you're on a small enough screen, you're going to notice these double arrows over here. If you're looking for a layout and you can't find it, it might be under this double arrow layout. You can click on this double arrow and it will open up any extra layouts here. So now I can click on all panels there and it brings up this all panel layout. So let's go back to editing. I'm going to click on editing, and let's say that I want to create a custom layout. So one thing we can do here is two things you can do is you can resize windows, and you can actually detach tabs and put them in different locations. If I move down to my timeline here and I grab this tab here by the name and I drag it, it detaches it, and now it's going to ask me where I want to put it. And you get this weird little figure where you got this square, this rectangular darkened square in the middle, and then you have up on top this little angled tab, and then one over here, one over here, one over here. So I've got a hold of this tab still down here, and I'm dragging it up. And now if I drop it here in the middle, watch what it does. It adds that as a new tab in this window space up here. Now it's just an extra tab. But if I grab that, detach it, and I move it over here, and I move it on. Actually, let me move it back down here, and I move it on top. Look what it does. It stacks this window and this shared space down here on top. If I grab it and put it on bottom, it will move it to the bottom. If I grab it and put it to the side, it'll do it side by side. If I grab and drag it to the right hand side, it'll put it side by side over here. Now the other thing you notice how I just kind of squished everything by moving around everything here. What you can do as well is you can, if I want to see more room on my timeline here, so I can grab I can move my mouse right in between this little line right here, and I can grab it and drag it to the left, and it will squish everything else over while extending these windows. So I can grab this one and drag that over more as well. Grab that little double arrow right there, move it over, and I can make a custom window. So I'm just going to grab this and pop it right back in the middle here, so it's shared tabs in the same scene. And now look how I've got my audio waveform, or my VU meter over here is too big, so I can move in the middle, get that little double arrow right there, grab it and drag it to the left. And we're kind of back to normal. Now let's kind of mess things up a little bit. Let's say we've done some things where we've like rearranged windows, and we've maybe even misplaced a tab. And we're like, oh crap, where'd my program window go? Well, it's right here. But let's say that I just want to do a quick reset to default, and everything goes back to the way it was. So I can do one of two things here. First of all, I can go to right now I'm highlighted under editing. I've rearranged my editing tab, and if I like this layout, I can go up under this little under this menu drop down here, click on that, and I can say save as new workspace. And then I can type in the workspace here. I'll just call this test workspace. Hit OK, and now it has saved it up here, and now I have that test workspace. If I click on editing, look what happens. It just stays the same, because this was the last layout I programmed for editing, but I also saved a copy of it as test workspace. But I can go to editing now, and I can go up to this little menu drop down and say, let's reset this to saved layout. And what that will do is we'll restore it to its original layout that it had by default. But now I can go to my test workspace, and here's my new one that I did, and here's my editing one. So if you screw something up, if I go under color and I grab a window and I drag it somewhere else, and then later on I go, I don't like this layout, I can go up to this little drop down and say reset to saved layout, and boom, it's done. Last thing I want to show here is all the functions that we have here at the top. You can just go up under Window. If for some reason, I've had some instances where this whole tab is missing from when I've opened up an earlier project file that did not have this tab yet. In that, when I opened it up from an earlier version of Premiere that did not used to have this layout up here. So up here you've got Window, and under Window and Workspaces, you're going to have all these same options. Here are all your here are all your layout names right here. You can select. So there's my new one I just saved right there. I click on that one. Or I can go back to my editing. It's just quicker to click on these tabs right here, but I can go to Window. But these do the same thing. Window, and I'm going to go to Editing and do the editing layout. And let's screw this one up. And there we go. Now if I want to go to Window, Workspaces, so with the editing selected, I can go down to Reset to Save Layout, and it does the same thing as clicking on this little drop-down menu and hitting Reset to Save Layout. So that's a quick little overview. So that's an overview of how to work with your window layouts. It's quite helpful when you're performing different functions in Premiere. So if you have any questions, please post them, and thanks for watching.